Welcome to part two of Oilers TV Playoffs presented by Sport Check. Tom Gazzola alongside Jack Michaels from the Oilers Radio Network. And in part two, Jack, we're going to take a look at the San Jose Sharks, who we happen to have seen a couple of times in the last week and a half of the season. The Oilers winning both of those games. We talked about the Milan Lucic game. And then, of course, they beat them again to home ice, if you will. Now, the Sharks, as opposed to the Oilers, some would say are limping into this series, literally and figuratively.
Absolutely. The literal part is, they dropped 9 of 13 down the stretch. I mean, Tom, 3 weeks ago, San Jose had a 9-point lead in the division. I don't know about you, but I had kind of conceded the division. And so I was looking at Edmonton gaining home ice head-to-head against Anaheim. And then San Jose hit the skids, dropped 6 in a row, 8 of 9, and just never really seemed to recover. And then in the last week and a half of the year, they suffer a significant facial injury to Logan Couture, who, oh, by the way, had 30 points for the Sharks on their way to the Stanley Cup final last year. And then Joe Thornton, who never misses time.
That was a nasty knee injury.
Yeah,
that did not look
he's
good.
got a left knee issue. And, we're talking about a guy who was MVP of the league the last time the Oilers went to the postseason in 2006. I think he's still the only league MVP ever to be acquired mid-season.
Well, he won the scoring championship.
Right.
Year, yeah.
I mean, he ran the gamut, and he was, sensational, and he's been just such a workhorse for the Sharks. It's hard to imagine him missing the opener, but if he plays, Tom, I was watching the pregame skate today. To me, he looks a bit compromised.
I thought he looked like he was skating gingerly and avoiding that left
and
leg.
Understandably so if you saw the extent of his injury. Look, I expect these guys to play, but at what level remains to be seen. Even Couture, as accomplished of a pro he is, he's wearing the cage, he's not comfortable with it. It can have an effect.
Okay, well, Jack, let's go into the Sharks room and hear from the Sharks themselves.
They got some guys with experience. We got some guys with experience. We got some young kids as well, So at the end of the day, it's showing up, it's competing. You need to be in certain situations to gain experience, and so they'll get a taste of it. One game in, they'll see what it's all about, I think. And as players, you watch the game a lot, and you always want to get to this level and play in the playoffs. It's some of the best hockey, so I'm sure they'll be excited. And as of us, we're pretty excited to be back here and to be competing now.
Feel great. Legs feel good. Feel rested. I've had 2.5 weeks of a rest, so I felt pretty good this morning. Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, 13 years or so since I've had one of those things on, but just extra protection for me.
Felt good. We'll see tonight. Yeah, we'll see tonight. But it felt good this morning. Yeah, you want to play. This is the best time of year, so it's we're doing everything we can to play tonight. So we'll see what happens. I had a schedule, but still, it's day to day and or hour to hour. So we'll just see how I feel tonight and go from there.
Game time decisions. Both of them are skating here this morning, and then we'll decide at game time. I don't think you can understate their importance to the group, but I also believe we're built to handle injuries, and we have depth, and you can't feel sorry for yourself in this league. It's next man up, and we played without significant players at different points over the last 2 years, and managed to stay competitive. So that's the plan.
All right, so there you have it for the San Jose Sharks. Joe Thornton, of course, a huge cog in that lineup, and Pete DeBoer said it in his pregame press conference that Joe will basically decide if he will play. And if you're a betting man, you're saying he's playing tonight, right?
I think he'll play. But even before he got hurt, he's no longer the Sharks' best player. I still think their best player is their captain, Joe Pavelski.
And little Joe himself, how's he doing?
Well, he's struggling a little bit down the stretch. I mean, physically he's fine, but he's only had 1 goal in his last 13 games. This was the first time since 2011, in a full season where he didn't hit 30 goals. I mean, he's so reliable, and the offense dried up for him a little bit at the end of the year. Again, without Thornton and Couture the last 6 or 7 games to kind of deflect attention away from him. Look, he's still one of the best players in the league. He probably is the best player in the league in the slot deflecting pucks home. He's going to be tough to deal with. But, when I look at the Sharks lineup, the one advantage they have, I mean, the Oilers kind of have it in special teams, forwards. The goaltending, you might say, is a wash.
Yep.
But defensively, this is where San Jose, if they have an edge, they're going to have to take advantage of whatever perceived edge they might have on the back end. They've got the one game breaker in Brent Burns. He's had a fabulous year, even though the offense dried up a little bit at the end of the season. He still had a phenomenal year, 29 goals. Now, only 2 in his last 23. But they've also got a shutdown pair of Marc-Edouard Vlasic and Justin Braun. The one thing about calling that pair a shutdown pair is, are they going to be able to shut down 97?
Right.
I like Justin Braun as a player. I'm not sure that pair will hold up over a 7-game series.
Can you touch really quickly, speaking of the Sharks shutting down the Oilers offense, how about the way the second line for the Oilers has started to emerge? Could that be the difference maker?
Well, absolutely. I mean, the secondary scoring that we've talked about all year for Edmonton, which at times was lacking, now all of a sudden Jordan Eberle's come off a hat trick.
Yep.
Milan Lucic had a hat trick against San Jose.
Exactly.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins had a recent 2-goal game, and he's been the trigger man, and he's been better on faceoffs down the stretch. So, look, you look at Edmonton's top 6. They've not only been good, but they've been durable. They're healthy. I mean, these are some intangibles, Tom, that I think take the edge off that San Jose playoff experience. I know the Sharks have played 110 playoff games since the Oilers have played 1. But that's not going to help them tonight.
Right. Right.
It's going to be the players on the ice. And the players on the ice for Edmonton have been appreciably better down the stretch.
All right, Jack, always appreciate chatting with you. Thanks for doing this.
I don't think you always appreciate
I always do.
I think occasionally would be a better adjective there.
Well, I'll tell you, I always appreciate it. All right. We'll say goodbye to Jack. And in part 3 of Oilers TV Playoffs presented by Sport Check, Dwayne Rollison himself joins me.